Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Well, this is a great show that you're going to hear. Of course, you have heard about My Eyes Looking Back at Me, the beautiful book that MENUCHA MEINSTEIN wrote, The Insight into a Survivor's Soul as told by LEAH, ROTH. And we've had comments about this. People are just spellbound about this, Leah. So I'm so glad you could call in. Are you in New York?
Yes, I'm in Bugsy, New York.
Okay, it's wonderful. And, of course, we have MENUCHA here in our studio. And my question was, and we were talking, we said that it was like a miracle that this happened. And, MENUCHA, you said?
I said it was a miracle that we met one another through Jewish Community Services TUS Company, and because Leah wanted to write her story, and she had begun, and we were able to expand it with a lot more stories to the end, this beautiful book of her life, her entire life, from a very young age, with new information about what it must have been like for her to live in pre-war Czechoslovakia from the age of 5, which was her first memory.
Wow, Leah. So you are now 90, what? 91
years old.
91 years old. Well, I have a husband who's 92 years old, but he was a B-17 pilot who flew to help free people like you in the prison, all the terrible places where the Jewish people were being held. So it's a different story when someone talks to you, because you were one of them right there, suffering. I don't know how you got through each day, but as I read the book, I held my breath. I cried. I laughed in some places. We all put you up on a pedestal. Is that where you'd like to be?
A pedestal?
A pedestal, yes.
No, I'm a normal person. I don't have to be in a pedestal.
You may be normal, but you are a survivor, as you said, and most of us don't know what it's like to be a survivor.
Well, a survivor, I had survived many, many things, a lot of bad things, and I survived. I had hope in a God and hope for living and having a family. And this is what I came to.
So having the family was very important. Is that how you were able to get through?
Important.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your family. So what do you have now?
I had two children, a son and a daughter, and I loved them dearly. They have their own children, which I have 8 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. No, it's 9.
We just had another one.
How did you... It was almost like finding I don't know how to describe MENUCHA, when she found you and you started talking to her, and what is it magical about her that made you unleash all these years of sorrow and sadness and horror?
Before I met MENUCHA, I really did not want to talk about my book. Then I started off my book by myself, which I wanted only for my children to know who I am, where I come from, and who my family is. And then I met MENUCHA, and I was glad that after I spoke to her, I saw that I can trust her, and I trust her. And then I revealed a lot of things which I would never reveal to anybody.
So that's what we have in the book. We have your deepest secrets and your deepest yearnings and your deepest sadness and your amazement at things. That was what really caught me, that you, no matter what was happening, you always found a way to go on.
Yes, we have to go on. We have to go on living. I had 3.5 very nice, good years with MENUCHA and Eddie, and I appreciate it deeply. And now life has to go on.
Well, that was a unique experience for all of you, and it was, I don't think there are many authors where this happens. This is very unusual, but I guess you got so close that it was the only way to really complete this. This is a masterpiece, actually, when you think about what's in this book, and you think of, 273 pages. That's a lot of time and effort. And MENUCHA, how long did you say this took?
It took 4 years to bring it to publication. And it needed to be self-published because it was very difficult for both of us that it took so long. Neither one of us knew it would take so long. But coming to age 89 and close to 90, I said, I promise you that for your 90th birthday, you will have a book to hold. And that's what she wanted. Before I leave, I need to hold my book. So on her 90th birthday, we had a celebration, and on the week before her 90th birthday, with the friends that were so involved in helping us edit and with suggestions for putting it together, then on the day of liberation, we had to estimate when that was. We had a debut of the book where the whole community came, and it was very successful, and everyone important spoke. Her kids each spoke, and some of the people who endorsed the book spoke. Avi Hoffman was master of ceremonies, and it was quite an event where she was truly honored for having the strength to go through her stories, because every time she'd go through it, we'd both often cry because it was so horrific and it was so painful, but it was so hopeful, because hope is what sustained Leah, and her strength and her ability to control her fear, which brought her forward. She just took one step after another. There was some luck in there because she never knew where she'd end up next. It's and also the fact that she was loving to her little camp sister Tzipora. They had each other, and I think when you're in the most dire circumstances, to have someone else to care for and to care for you gives you that strength and hope that you need to get through it to the next day, because they were so hungry. Everything was about finding something to put in their stomach. And, we're hungry. We think we're hungry and it's time for lunch. I mean, they were hungry for weeks and years. They were starving. And to hear this story from this little lady that I learned to love so deeply and so much, and to honor her wisdom that came out of telling her story, that she didn't even realize that how much she had.
So, Leah, you certainly did find a sister at heart. She does love you a lot, and she does think so much of you, and I know you must feel the same for her.
Yes, we were very close up to this day. We are very close together. We feel like sisters, close sisters, loving sisters.
So let me ask you just a few questions about when you were, of course, in the camp. Did you at any time believe that you were going to be freed, or you just lived day by day and didn't think about it?
we didn't live day by day. We lived hour by hour, not days. I always hoped that maybe somehow I will get free. And the time came. And I am free and I'm happy.
Yes, you are happy. You're with your family and you're very attractive. I must say, I'm seeing you on the cover of this book. You're just a beautiful woman. And how much do you weigh now, if I may ask?
I weigh now 140, 42 maybe.
And what did you weigh when you were in the camp and they rescued you?
I was always chubby, even after so much hungry and cold. I still did not lose a lot of weight. Yes, I was around 130. When I came out, maybe less. Who had a weight to weigh? Who was thinking about weighing himself?
Of course. But when we see pictures of the prisoners, we see skin and bones. And you must have seen a lot of that. That's what I wonder, how it is to see people like that and be so helpless.
Well, a person cannot imagine what hungry does to a person. Hungry and cold, more hungry than cold. And the slow walking, it was very, very sad and very hard.
Do you have any friends now from the concentration camps?
Right now, yes, I have some friends. Most of the friends are not here any longer.
But your little camp sister is still alive, Tzipora Gottlieb.
Tzipora is in Israel. Yes, she is alive. And I have in Miami a few friends, and I have all over the world. I have a few friends. They were not direct with me, but they were in the concentration camp. And to tell you the truth, only those who were in the concentration know what it was. Another person cannot believe it and cannot understand it.
I'm sure that's true. Has anyone written a book? Any of your friends had a book written about it?
Yes, cousins did write. Some of my cousins did write a book, yes.
It's interesting. I have had quite a few books recently posed and proposed for me to do something about, which I have, but nothing as extensive as yours. This was really amazing to me when I first picked it up, and I thought, oh, here's another book on the Holocaust, and can't just keep doing this. And I started, and after the first chapter, I couldn't put it down. It was like mesmerizing to me. Of course, MENUCHA is an excellent writer, but the passion was felt in there, and the circumstances were not to be believed, so I had to do this for you and for her. It just was very special. And are you making speeches in front of groups? I would think they would love to meet you and talk to you.
Yes, I do go to speak to schools. I have many children. They're eagerly listening. I was lately by my grandson where the children attend the school, and there were around 150 kids in the school with the teachers, and they all were listening, and then they sent me beautiful thank you letters, how much they got from me. I also speak at the Students Awareness Day, which we have in Miami. They're coming together, thousands of children, and they're listening and watching tapes. And this tape, what I saw there, I saw my brother for the first time. I saw my brother in the picture, which it was very, I could say, good, and it was very, very emotional.
Yes, I was told that. Of course, it's in your book, so that is really very special. Can you imagine? And how did you, and MENUCHA, you found that, I guess.
Well, we were watching a movie together, at Student Awareness Day, and she turned to me and she said, "I think that's my brother, Ben Sion." Ben Sion was her favorite brother. He sort of took care of her. And so we got the film, and we looked at it frame by frame until we found it. He was standing by the gas chambers as one of the boys who were putting bodies into the ovens. And she said, "I'm sure that's him." So we compared it with this picture that her sister had saved, because her sister was able to retain some things. And so you can see there's such a strong resemblance. So it was very moving. And when we were at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum a couple of weeks ago, I asked about Spanish books. And there on the cover of a Spanish book was another picture, clearly with Ben Sion in it, in a group. So I've talked to the woman, Ellie Gross, where she got the picture. And because our book is being translated into Spanish now and Hebrew as well. So it was a real find at that book signing to find another picture of Ben Sion.
Amazing, isn't it? And so that I'm sure surprises will continue to come. As your book gets out there, there'll be people who will contact you and say, "Oh, I knew this person," or "That's who I am," or "What happened." Getting the book out, it's for posterity, now. It will be in hopefully all the Holocaust museums. And having that book means that you become immortal, That's what books are about. You will become immortal. Isn't that lovely?
Yes, it is. It makes me happy when I see the book.
Yes, it is. It makes, let's just rise above this and take you out of this equation. Think about this. In 50 years from now, the book will still be around. We won't be around, but the book will be. And there will be people who probably will say, "That's not possible that ever happened." But you see, because of the books and because of the museums, and it can never go away. It's like we think about ancient Greece, and we go there and we see on the walls, we see so many things, because people can't believe that the Greeks and the Romans and so many civilizations did what they did. But your book and all the other books written and the museums will always make it, yes, it was. This was not made up.
I can say on this, yes, I am happy that my book is written. People will read it. However, this is my payback for what I was suffering while writing the book. I went through a hard time writing and also thinking all the time about the Holocaust. And it goes with me all the time. And this is a lot because I was writing the book.
I'm sure it was really probably, you had to relive the worst time of your life.
I do live through it, yes.
Constantly, she lives through it every day. She lives through what she remembers, and everything reminds her of what she suffered.
Well, today we have soldiers coming back from the war, and they have this terrible brain problem where they can't sleep at night because many of these people never saw death. They never saw guns like they did today, and they did. So we have the same thing happening with people, but they didn't. I can't measure how much they suffered and what you did, but anybody, even people. This is interesting, MENUCHA, that people in serious crashes in cars, they never want to drive again. They always remember what that was like. And that's nothing compared when you think of, what LEAH went through. But yet it's the trauma that some people can't manage. But it seems like, LEAH, you are managing that trauma better than most people could ever envision.
I don't know if I manage it better because each time when I'm together with a lot of people, I see myself in Auschwitz. So I don't know if I'm better off. Had I not write the book, I wouldn't have had this feeling. And this is the truth what I'm saying.
Because it was buried. You know, she buried it. It was hidden, and there was no reason to bring it up.
And for many years, I did not speak. My children knew nothing about the Holocaust until my daughter was 12 years old, and she heard it in school only, but never from me. In the home, by me, it was a forbidden subject.
No one was allowed to talk about it because it was so painful. And she didn't want the children to suffer knowing how much she suffered. She wanted them to have a normal life until they found out on their own.
And then did they have a normal life after that? What happened to them?
My children had a very nice life, and they do have a nice life. They have their own children, and they are happy with themselves what they have.
So they did not take your terrible life into their own life, in a sense. They know it happened, but they have risen above suffering themselves, it sounds like.
No. Today, they feel sorry what I went through, but they did not feel at that time when they grew up. They did not feel that they're children from Holocaust survivors. And
Yes.
I didn't want them to feel. I didn't want them to be different than other children. I wanted them to grow up normal.
You have a great personality. I can see why you are and why you managed your life there, because even now, you're always giving. You're always trying to give. You're trying to give to your children. You want to give no matter what it was like for you. That's a very special personality. A lot of people don't have half or 1/4 the problems that you had or knew, and they don't act like you do.
Yes, I do like to give to my children. Yes, I do.
Tell me, your parents, tell me then how they were. Do you recall their personalities?
Well, my mother, I don't remember anything, nothing whatsoever. Only what I saw in pictures, but I don't remember. My father was a very intelligent person and a loving father, but he was taken away from me when I was a little over 14 years old, and I had to fend for myself.
But you did have brothers and sisters.
I had only one sister left, and my brother was alive until I went to Auschwitz. He did go in the same time the Nazis took my brother in the same time when they took us. They took me and Zipporah in the same time. But my parents, they took already in 1941, and I became an orphan already then. I had to live with other people and learn life for myself.
I'm sure that you know the story of Anne Frank, of course. Tell me about that to you, how that is for you.
Anne Frank had a completely different life because Anne Frank was growing up until she was taken to Auschwitz with the parents. So this is a completely different life than I had. There's nothing to compare to Anne Frank and myself.
You see, Leah grew up without a mother because her mother passed away from natural causes when Leah was 5. And it was from that point on that she felt like an orphan, even though her father remarried and there were 5 more children in the family. But at one point, they were all taken to the border and shot. So she really did become an orphan. So when she was in Auschwitz, she was no longer the only orphan she knew, because nobody had parents anymore.
Yeah, well, it's interesting for us, before so much has been written about the Holocaust, which is now the museums, that for us, Anne Frank was a symbol of the horror. And then, of course, Schindler's List came out. And for us who've not had an experience like you or have known people, that was a very important movie for us. What did you think of that movie?
I think the movie was very good done, very well done, but it was like a kindergarten to the reality.
Yeah.
Right. You think there were many, but there were many people like Schindler, weren't there, who really tried to protect the Jewish children, even at the cost of their maybe being killed. Did you know any of them, people who just, even though they knew it was dangerous, to help?
I know only 2 other people. There was, in Hungarian, there was a Wallenberg. He helped out for many, many people. My sister was under this Wallenberg. And this is the only one which I know that the Christian protected. Otherwise, I hear after the war, I hear from many people there were people who were helping out. But I personally did not have, and I was not in contact with anybody who did prepare. I have a very good feeling of the guy who hid my personal items, and he gave it back to me after the war.
Amazing, amazing. Well, Leah, this is absolutely, we've run out of time, and I can't tell you, this is one of the most important interviews with you, MENUCHA, that I have ever done, and I'm trembling. It's just been beautiful, and I thank you so much, and hopefully I will get to meet you when you come back to Miami.
Yes, I hope so, and I thank you very much for the interview.
I thank you very much for being who you are. And MENUCHA, of course. MENUCHA and I are going to be friends, so we'll take care of that. But thank you again, and please just keep smiling and keep doing what you do. It's a great
thank you.
It's great for us.
I'm waiting for time when I can meet you personally.
All right, we'll make sure we do that. Okay, thank you so much.